The Galactic Alliance gathered in the Great Hall of Stars, its leaders' faces etched with worry. They were the brightest minds from dozens of advanced civilizations, their collective wisdom spanning millennia. Yet, despite their technological superiority, they were helpless against the encroaching Xeric. The Xeric had no weaknesses. They adapted, overpowered, and dismantled every fleet sent to stop them. Entire systems had fallen in weeks, and the Alliance was running out of time. The Alliance Chancellor, a towering figure with crystalline skin that shimmered under the starlight, spoke gravely. "We are at the brink of annihilation. Our strategies, our technology, our unity, they mean nothing to the Xeric. We require a solution, or the Alliance will collapse." The room was silent, every delegate searching for an answer no one could find. Among the sea of solemn faces, Captain Sarah Briggs leaned back in her chair, an amused smirk playing on her lips. Unlike the impeccably robed and polished alien dignitaries, Sarah was clad in the utilitarian uniform of the Terran fleet. Her casual demeanor was as jarring as her presence in the room. Humanity was the newest member of the Alliance, considered brash and inexperienced by most. When the Chancellor's gaze fell on her, she raised her mug of coffee, a human habit the aliens found perplexing. "So," she began, her voice cutting through the heavy air, "you're telling me you've thrown everything at them, and nothing's worked?" A diplomat from the San Collective, a reptilian species known for their tactical prowess, hissed. "The Xeric cannot be outthought. They predict every move, counter every attack. What could your species possibly contribute?" Sarah's grin widened. "That's the thing about humans. We don't play by the rules." The Chancellor frowned. "This is no time for cryptic remarks, Captain Briggs. If humanity has a proposal, present it." Sarah set her coffee down, her tone turning serious. "All right, here's the deal. You've been trying to fight the Xeric head-on. That's your first mistake. Humans don't win by brute force. We win by being unpredictable. We call it thinking outside the box." The room filled with murmurs of confusion. The phrase meant nothing to them. Sarah sighed, realizing she needed to explain further. "Look, the Xeric are like a supercomputer. They analyze, calculate, and react based on patterns. You're giving them exactly what they expect. But what happens if you throw something completely illogical at them? Something they can't predict?" The Chancellor's crystalline eyes narrowed. "Illogical? Chaos." "Exactly," Sarah said, leaning forward. "Humans thrive in chaos. We've turned disasters into victories for centuries. If you give me and my team the resources, we'll show you how it's done." The San diplomat scoffed. "You expect us to entrust the fate of the galaxy to chaos?" Sarah shrugged. "Do you have a better option?" The Chancellor's gaze swept across the room, met only with silence. Finally, she nodded. "Very well. Humanity will lead this operation. But know this, Captain Briggs, failure is not an option." Sarah picked up her coffee again, raising it in a mock toast. "Don't worry, Chancellor. You're about to see what happens when humans say, 'Hold my coffee.'" The delegates stared at her, puzzled by the phrase, as she turned and walked out. Sarah stood before a massive holographic display, the sprawling Xeric fleet rendered in ominous red. Around her, a mix of humans and skeptical alien strategists watched as she outlined the plan. Her tone was confident but not arrogant. It was clear she had thought this through, even if it sounded insane to her audience. "Here's the thing about the Xeric," Sarah began, gesturing at the hologram. "They're predictable. Not in their actions, but in their mindset. They've been winning by overwhelming you with superior numbers, technology, and perfect counter-strategies. But their strength is also their weakness. They rely on precision and order. What they can't handle is chaos." A senior tactical analyst from the Velcorian species, known for their cold logic, raised a clawed hand. "Chaos is not a strategy. It is a failure of planning." Sarah grinned. "That's where you're wrong. Chaos is a tool, and humanity's been using it for centuries. We've fought wars where the odds were stacked against us, And we won by doing the unexpected. She turned to the hologram, tapping a section of the display. For example, this sector here is where we'll launch our first feint. But we won't attack conventionally. We'll lure the Xeric in with false signals and then scatter, leaving them chasing phantoms. The alien strategists murmured, their expressions ranging from confusion to outright disbelief. The Velcorian analyst spoke again, his voice dripping with skepticism. You plan to bait them with false signals? Their systems will analyze and dismiss such tricks within moments. That's why we're not stopping at signals, Sarah replied, her voice firm. We're going to use misdirection on every level. Ships disguised as debris fields. Holographic fleets projected to look like overwhelming reinforcements. We'll even deploy psychological warfare, broadcast sounds, images, and messages that'll throw their crews into disarray. One of the alien engineers, a member of the aquatic Nari species, blinked its translucent eyes. Psychological warfare? What could possibly unsettle a species as calculating as the Xeric? Sarah chuckled. You'd be surprised. Humans have a knack for figuring out what makes people, and apparently aliens, tick. We've already analyzed some of their intercepted transmissions. Their culture prioritizes precision and clarity. So, what happens when we flood their communication channels with noise? Nonsense. Things that defy logic. The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. One of the younger alien strategists hesitated before asking, and what if this fails? What if they adapt? They will adapt, Sarah admitted, her tone unflinching. But that's the beauty of our plan. We'll stay one step ahead. Every move they counter, we'll hit them with something new, something crazier. By the time they figure out what we're doing, they'll already be too deep in the chaos to recover. The Chancellor entered the room, observing the discussion with an unreadable expression. Captain Briggs, I assume you've considered the risks? Sarah turned to face her. Of course. But let's be honest, Chancellor, traditional tactics have failed. We're not just fighting the Xeric. We're fighting their certainty. If we can disrupt that, even for a moment, we have a chance to turn the tide. The Chancellor studied her for a long moment before nodding. Proceed. But understand this, Captain. Your success is the galaxy's survival. Sarah didn't hesitate. Then let's get to work. The preparations began in earnest. Human engineers worked tirelessly alongside their alien counterparts, modifying existing alliance ships with unconventional designs. A standard cruiser became a decoy vessel bristling with holographic projectors. Fighters were stripped down and outfitted with unpredictable, jury-rigged weaponry that no sane military would approve. There were heated debates, particularly between the alien engineers and their human collaborators. The aliens couldn't understand why humans were deliberately making their designs less efficient. One exasperated Nari engineer finally exclaimed, "You're breaking every known law of design." Exactly, a human replied, grinning. That's the point. The training sessions for the pilots and crew were equally unconventional. Human officers drilled their teams on tactics that seemed reckless to the aliens. Erratic flight patterns, simulated retreats that turned into ambushes, and maneuvers designed to create maximum confusion. As the preparations neared completion, Sarah addressed her team one last time. This isn't just about winning a battle, she said, her voice carrying through the room. This is about showing the Xeric and the Alliance that humanity doesn't back down. We don't just survive, we thrive when the odds are against us. There were no cheers, no grand declarations. Just a quiet, determined resolve as the team got back to work. Time was running out, but for the first time, the Alliance felt a glimmer of hope. The fleet emerged from hyperspace, positioned on the outskirts of a desolate star system. The Xeric were already there, their ships arranged in perfect formation, an intimidating wall of firepower. The Alliance fleet hesitated, their formations tightening nervously. Only the human contingent seemed calm, their modified ships looking more like a scrapyard convoy than a military armada. Sarah's voice came through the comms, steady and assured. All right, everyone. Stick to the plan. The Zirek are about to learn the hard way that chaos doesn't come with a manual. The first wave began. A handful of human decoy ships advanced, broadcasting distorted signals. To the Zirek, the ships appeared much larger and more heavily armed than they actually were. Predictably, the Zirek fleet shifted, moving to intercept. But as they opened fire, the decoys shimmered and disappeared. Holograms, nothing more. At the same time, a swarm of smaller human vessels darted in from unexpected angles, targeting weak points the Zirek hadn't thought to defend. From the command deck of the Zirek flagship, their commander issued a flurry of orders. The humans' tactics were erratic, confusing, but they were confident their algorithms would adapt. Yet, as the battle unfolded, it became clear this wasn't a standard engagement. Human ships didn't move in formation. They didn't follow predictable patterns. Instead, they zigzagged, feigned retreat, then struck from unguarded flanks. Some ships even collided intentionally with Zirek vessels, their crews ejecting seconds before impact. It wasn't strategy. It was madness. As the Zirek struggled to recalibrate, the second phase began. Sarah's team deployed psychological warfare. Human broadcasts flooded the Zirek communication channels with bursts of garbled audio, bizarre images, and incomprehensible symbols. To the Zirek, whose culture revolved around precision and clarity, it was like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. One broadcast in particular stood out, a looping video of a human pilot dancing while their ship spiraled chaotically through space. It served no tactical purpose but rattled the Zirek to their core. Their crews, unable to process the randomness, hesitated at critical moments. An alien observer aboard the Alliance flagship muttered, This is warfare?" A human officer standing nearby grinned. "This is human creativity." The turning point came when a heavily modified human frigate, seemingly patched together with scrap metal, approached the Zirek mothership. The Zirek dismissed it as insignificant until it unleashed an experimental weapon, a pulse of electromagnetic chaos that temporarily disabled the mothership systems. In the confusion, the rest of the human fleet pressed the attack, tearing through the Zirek defenses. But just as victory seemed within reach, the Zirek deployed reinforcements. A second wave of ships warped into the system, their numbers overwhelming. The Alliance fleet faltered, and even the humans paused. Sarah's voice cut through the static. "Stay calm. This is just another move in the game. Stick to the plan." The humans pivoted immediately. They abandoned their attack on the main fleet and turned their attention to the incoming reinforcements, bombarding them with the same unpredictable tactics. Alliance ships, emboldened by humanity's success, began adopting similar methods, mimicking the erratic maneuvers. The Zirek, for the first time, showed signs of strain. Their formations were breaking, their precision faltering. Sarah's voice came through again, quieter now but still resolute. "They're on the edge. Push harder. Make them doubt themselves." In the chaos, a human pilot sent a transmission to the entire fleet, shouting, "For humanity," before plunging their ship into the heart of the Zirek formation. The explosion ripped through several key vessels, creating an opening for the Alliance fleet to press forward. By the end of the engagement, the Zirek had been forced into retreat. The Alliance had achieved what had once seemed impossible, a victory. But it was clear to everyone involved that the fight wasn't over. This was just the beginning. The aftermath of the battle left the battlefield in ruins, but the morale of the Alliance fleet was higher than it had been in years. Human ingenuity had turned the tide, but the looming arrival of more Zirek reinforcements cast a shadow over their victory. Sarah, standing on the bridge of her flagship, scanned the reports flooding in. Her crew awaited her orders, their faces a mix of exhaustion and determination. The comms crackled as the Alliance Chancellor's voice came through. "Captain Briggs, the Zirek will not retreat for long. Their reinforcements outnumber us 3-1. We cannot survive another wave." Sarah nodded, her expression unreadable. "Then we don't let them regroup. We take the fight to them." The Chancellor paused. "You're suggesting an offensive? After all we've just endured?" "Exactly," Sarah replied. They won't expect it. Right now, they're shaken. We've disrupted their order, and that's the best time to strike. We hit their command center directly, destroy their ability to coordinate. It's risky, but it's the only way. The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. Finally, the Chancellor said, "If you fail, the Alliance will fall. Are you certain of this course of action?" Sarah's voice was steady. "Certainty is a luxury we don't have. But if we wait, they'll rebuild, and we'll lose everything. This is our best shot." The plan was simple in its boldness. A small strike force would infiltrate the Zirich's command station, located deep within a heavily guarded system. Using the chaos generated by the fleet's erratic movements, they would slip through the defenses and deliver a crippling blow. The preparation was swift. Human and alien engineers worked tirelessly to patch up the damaged ships. Pilots and soldiers steeled themselves for what many knew might be a one-way mission. Sarah made no promises of survival but spoke with unwavering confidence. "This is what it means to fight for something bigger than ourselves," she said during her final address. "The Zirich believe they've already won. They see us as nothing more than an obstacle in their path. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity and the Alliance." The fleet launched, plunging into hyperspace toward the Zirich command system. As expected, the defenses were formidable. The Zirich had regrouped faster than anticipated, their formations tighter and their tactics more aggressive. But humanity had taught the Alliance well. Alliance ships, now employing the unpredictable strategies they'd learned, engaged the Zirich forces head-on, drawing their attention. Meanwhile, Sarah's strike team, hidden by a field of cloaked debris, slipped through the chaos. The closer they got to the command station, the more dangerous the mission became. Automated turrets, drone swarms, and patrolling ships blocked their path, but the human pilots navigated with precision and daring, using every ounce of their creativity to outmaneuver the Zirich defenses. When they finally reached the command station, the strike force deployed their payload, a series of explosive charges designed not to destroy the station but to overload its systems. The resulting chain reaction would leave the Zirich unable to coordinate their fleets, effectively crippling their entire war effort. The mission was nearly derailed when the Zirich detected the strike team and sent reinforcements. A fierce firefight ensued, with Sarah's team outnumbered and outgunned. But once again, humanity's unpredictability proved decisive. One pilot, badly damaged and with no way out, broadcast a final message. For the Alliance, they said before ramming their ship into a critical section of the station, buying the rest of the team enough time to complete their mission. The charges detonated, and the Zirich command station erupted in a blinding cascade of light and fire. The remaining Zirich forces, disoriented and leaderless, began to retreat. Back in the main battle, the Alliance fleet pressed their advantage, driving the Zirich into a full retreat. When the dust settled, the battlefield was quiet. The Alliance had done the impossible. They had not only survived but delivered a crushing blow to the Zirich. Sarah stood on her bridge, watching as the remnants of the Zirich fleet vanished into the void. Her crew cheered, but she remained calm, already thinking of what would come next. The Chancellor's voice came through the comms once more. "Captain Briggs, you've not only saved the Alliance but given us hope. Humanity's methods may be unconventional, but they have proven invaluable." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Chaos has its perks. Let's hope they remember that next time. As the fleet began its journey back to Alliance space, Sarah picked up her mug of coffee, now cold and forgotten during the battle. She took a sip and grimaced. "Still tastes terrible," she muttered. Then, with a faint grin, she added, "But it tastes like victory."